steroids.
Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Redevelopment Agency meeting for February 11th, 2014. Let the roll call reflect that all board members are present, and we appreciate your attendance as well. And we'll turn the time to Vice Chair Gachner for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
We'll now observe a moment of silence. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is reports from administration, the fiscal year 2013 annual report, and that would be
Mr. Cooper is going
Mr. Cooper.
to be front and center.
Oh, correction, it is not for fiscal year, that's just for the calendar year.
Chair Heyer, members of the board, good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. It is my pleasure to report to you the calendar year 2013 RDA annual report. My presentation will be in summary form. I believe a full copy of the report was transmitted in the packet. So I'll just touch on some of the highlights in terms of what we felt were some significant accomplishments in 2013 and some of the state of the districts. The full comprehensive financial report will be included in the CAFR, which I believe you'll be discussing at a future date. So we have 22 project areas total within the redevelopment agency. 5 of those are economic development areas. 16 of those are redevelopment areas, and 1 of those is an urban renewal area, which is basically a contemporary version of a redevelopment area. The one URA is the East Washington URA, which was established under the new state law in 2010. And so they kind of recoined a different name for what essentially is a redevelopment agency, which includes blight studies, things like that. All of these, the 16 RDA areas and the 1 URA area are based on blights. The 5 EDA areas are based on other criteria established by the state. Out of the 22 project areas, 20 of those will expire between now and 2027. You see that we have 4 expiring in 2015, 2 in 2016 and 17, 3 in 2018, 1 in 2019. No expirations happen in 2020. We have 1 in 2021, 3 in 22, 0 in 23, 2 in 24, 0 in 25, and 1 in 26 and 27. The other 2 agencies expire in 2031 and 2033. Those are the 2 newest areas that we've established in 2010 and 2013. In fact, this slide represents the 1 project area that was newly established in 2013. That's the Trackline EDA. You're all familiar with that. In terms of summary projects, both completed, approved, and forecasted in 2013, we have quite a few. You'll know this picture as the Riverbend townhomes, more specifically the Meadows at Riverbend townhomes. This is the phase 1 that was finished in 2013. This is a graphical representation. They don't exactly look like this. But there are 15 of them. I believe 10 or 11 of those 15 are sold at full value. So that this project has done very well in establishing a new market for higher-end homes in especially the downtown area. These sell for some of the highest per square foot prices in the city, sans maybe Shadow Valley and some other places like that. So we're very happy with the way that these look. We wish they would sell a little further, faster, but the market is starting to understand a little bit more that Ogden is a great place to live, especially in our downtown area, and as that continues to change over time, I think these will be a popular product. This developer has started in their second phase. They're bringing a new product into the market. These are 3-story, ranging from, I believe, 13 to 2,000 square feet. The new product is a 2-story master bedroom on the main, so that if you don't want to walk up and down stairs, you don't have to. And so we hope that that'll kind of bring some additional interest into the project area. You'll see that this project, these 15 homes are valued at $2.8 million of investment in this project area. The second completed project, which is my favorite of all time, is the Weber State Downtown Building, located at 2314 Washington. This was a joint venture between the Economic Development Administration, Ogden City, and Weber State University. It's going very well. The bookstore is now fully opened. If you haven't been able to see it in its completed state, go, because they've done some things even since the grand opening that make the space spectacular. This is a facade rendering, and those 2 pictures on the sides are the 2nd and 3rd floor. And very proud of the space. You folks were integral in making this happen. I would like to recognize Bill Salerno, who passed away on February 3rd. He was the architect on this project. Wonderful man. He's done multiple buildings in the city, the Public Works building, this building, of course, the Imagine Ballet, the amphitheater. We'll miss Bill. He's a wonderful architect and a good friend. This building is valued at $3.2 million worth of investment into the East Washington URA. This is an approved project that was approved in 2013. You'll recognize this as the apartment units proposed to go at 23rd and Washington. They're currently in plan review right now, site plan and subdivision plan. So we hope to see these units being constructed this year. They'll probably take over the course of a year's time, so we'll hopefully see occupancy here on this block in 2015. It's a $14 million valuation worth of investment in the project area, and this will do a tremendous amount of, this will have a tremendous amount of impact in bringing residents back to the downtown area. As you know, we've had great success with places like Colonial Court and the Junction City Apartments, and so this is just another addition to putting people into the downtown, and we're very excited. Another approved project in 2013 was the Union Square Townhomes phases, well, Section A and B. This was approved in 2013. Yet to begin. They're in design phase right now with some approvals trying to be worked out in terms of the land acquisition. This is 8 townhomes and 58 apartment units located on the south side of the existing Union Square apartments, or excuse me, townhomes there on 25th and Wall. So we're hoping to see this come out of ground in 2014, and that's a $7.6 million investment. Project under construction that started in 2013 is the Tokyo Station. This is the 7,000 square foot teppanyaki style restaurant that you folks approved to be constructed on the east side of the parking structure at the Junction. So this faces Washington Boulevard on the east side of the Hilton Garden Inn parking structure. So they had a delay in construction due to winter conditions. They should resume as soon as the snow melts, and we anticipate this to be open and operating in August of this year. So we're very excited about that. If you love Japanese style food, upscale. Again, roughly a $1.2 million investment into the CBD Mall district. A future project that was approved in terms of the redevelopment area was the track line, which we have coined the Ogden Business Exchange. The track line and the Ogden Business Exchange are really the same thing. It's a $52 million project over the course of 10 years, and by creating the track line EDA, you really have set the stage to allow this project to happen. So we're very excited about this, and you'll be hearing some additional information about this in the near future. So total activity for 2013, the blue bars are the numbers that you've seen associated with the various projects tallied up. So we have $6 million worth of investment already completed in 2013. We have $21.6 million that you all have approved as a board to be completed. And we have $1.2 million under construction, which is the Tokyo Station. And we have the $52 million trackline project that is a future project that has been established with the trackline EDA. The red bars are the investments that the RDA has contributed to make those projects happen. And keep in mind, these are all but-for projects, meaning that without the investment lines that you see, the $1.1 million in the completed section, the $1.2 million in approved, the $75,000 under construction, and the $4 million for the future project, it's likely that none of these projects would have taken place. What that means is that our investment leverages a 12-to-1 return, which means that for every dollar that we've contributed to these projects, we've gained $12 back, which is a wonderful use of RDA funds, use of tax increment, and as you've seen from all of the approvals that you've been part of over the last year, we're making quite a significant impact to the different RDA areas in the city. That's all I have. That's a summary of what's in the report. I'll be happy to answer any specific questions.
Any questions for Mr. Cooper?
What happens if an RDA is matured? Do we just write it off, or how does that happen?
So you're asking what happens when an RDA expires? So they have a termination date that's established within the project area plan, usually tied to the budget. Once the district expires, then all of the taxes that were once distributed directly to the RDA will be redispersed back to the various taxing entities, Ogden City being one of them. The goal is to realize a significant increase in those taxes than we otherwise would have realized over appreciation throughout the same time. Does that make sense?
I don't remember seeing a leverage ratio in the past. Do you know where that ranks, where our 12-to-1 ranks over the past couple of years, or?
Well, obviously, the $52 million project that is expected to be in the future changes that a little bit. I wouldn't know how that has ranked in the past. I do know that we look at that when we talk about individual projects that we bring before you for approval throughout the year. We do look at those types of ratios, return on investment, leverage ratio, those kind of things are all part of our decision making when we decide to invest in a project. And so we look to expand our dollars. We have limited dollars. We usually don't have upfront dollars in terms of the TIF scenario, and so we try to get as much out of that investment as we can. If you're interested, I could look backwards throughout the last couple of years, determine the leverage ratio, and get back to you.
I think it's okay. I'll just start paying more attention, see when on the next new project. So, good.
Yeah.
I haven't been through one of these processes yet. Do we set timeframes for development to start, to be completed, those kind of things?
Typically, because our investment dollars are based on the timeliness of the development, the speed of the development. So typically, every development that we get involved in has not necessarily a start frame, but almost always a finish time. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay.
No? Okay.
Maybe just one,
I knew.
when you're talking about that ratio, just kind of putting it in context, it might be interesting to know how we're doing, like, compared to some other communities around. I don't know. I mean, do they do that as well?
If they don't, I would hope that they would start. It's a great way to determine how successful you're being in terms of your investment. I know we have one of, or if not the largest RDA redevelopment agency in the state, which would probably equate to one of the bigger budgets in the state. And so we're so busy worrying about ourselves, we don't have a lot of time to look at others, but I'd, again, be happy to compare ourselves to maybe Salt Lake, who has a smaller agency, and look at that.
I don't know.
They deal with their TIF a little
I
different.
don't know that we could get the data, and if we could, I don't know that it would be apples to apples against most cities.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We deal with our TIF entirely different than how they do it, and so I don't know if it'd be a very good comparison.
That's a measurement of our return on our investment, is that correct on that?
Right.
The ratio?
And the good way to think about it in very simplistic terms is if I give you $1 and you give me 12, who wins? I do. And so that's really what we're accomplishing here, is that every dollar that we have, we're basically magically transforming it into 12 new dollars that didn't otherwise exist.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. We'll now have public comment. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding your concerns or
Chair.
ideas. Yes.
You do have an action on that item.
Oh, we do, sorry. Got ahead of myself.
With that, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt the 2013 annual report.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to accept from Board Member Blair, seconded by Board Member Wicks. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Now I'll have public comment. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding your concerns or ideas for the Ogden Redevelopment Agency. Please state your name and address clearly for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Welcome, Mr. Pate.
Travis Pate, here in Ogden. I spoke with you about a year ago with regards to D Elementary School, and now I come to you again with roughly the same format, just asking for the establishment of partnerships for the school, not only the relocation, but the rebuilding and design as this being a vital center of community, not just having a community center element. Boys and Girls Clubs can meet in any cultural hall, gymnasium, or any of those types of things. So I just have done significant research towards my senior project at Weber State University, and also came across some other partnerships that could exist, such as the STEM Action Center, which was just kicked off January 31st at the Neil Armstrong Elementary in West Valley City. The governor and several other chairs were there, and then also just the Prosperity 2020, which is what is Prosperity 2020 with Alan Hall, one of our Ogden's famous sons, introducing that Curiosity Unleashed, and it's Utah executives supporting STEM education. And as you know, the superintendent was adamant about D Elementary possibly being a STEM magnet school, and I just thought it needs to be built to capacity and also designed and fit the neighborhood. The RDA plus the council plus administration and staff have spent an extensive and substantial amount of money and time developing that East Central Community Plan, and the school district working quasi-autonomous. We didn't ask for anything in the interlocal agreement. We didn't say, we would like you to have it reviewed by the Planning Commission. I would like that considered in the future. I would like those types of things. Anytime an interlocal agreement is entered, that it not just be a land grab, such as near Odyssey or Shadow Valley, that we actually say, here's how we want it to face the street. I was referred by the council back to administration, and they said they've already selected how the footprint of North Ogden Elementary will sit on the D school site. So the school district's already had a plan for the school district property, which was North Ogden Elementary, being put down. But now that we've, so to speak, shared and acquired property for them to make it an urban school, we need to make it an urban school. It doesn't need to be a cookie cutter, drop from the sky, Walmart fashioned building. We have our Walmart, which is heads above the Harrisville Walmart, because we asked. So unless we ask, I'm challenging the city council. I have a letter to that effect and the RDA to just ask. Let's get some partnerships established. If Weber State wants to be part of their School of Education in this building, let's ask. Let's get the STEM stuff starting right now forward, that it fits the neighborhood, it fits the East Central Community Plan, and that all my neighbors, that currently every neighbor that I have with children that's moved into my neighborhood, charter schools or private schools. That's a sad tribute to the school district and to our neighborhood. And this new apartment building proposed on 23rd and Washington, that's in the D school boundaries. What are we going to give them to build it, to buy into that neighborhood and to have families in that neighborhood if we ourselves don't step forward and say, here's what we want. Here's how it can be designed well. Here's how it can be a living tribute to Thomas Duncombe D Lawrence D. and Tommy D., who I knew personally, Lawrence and Tommy. And so I would just ask that we move forward with STEM. If it's STEM education, we get the partnerships established, and we just sit down and have a joint meeting with the school board and say, here's what we do, here's how we brainstorm, and here's what we'd like to see happen. It's our neighborhood. If we've spent a fortune, not only just on Jefferson Avenue, but in the downtown, to make it a live-walk community. And if we just build a fiasco of a school, we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm sorry, if you'd like to address the board as citizens, the school board, their meeting's February 20th, and you have to notify them 2 days in advance. So if you'd like to be there as citizens, their next meeting's February 20th.
Okay, thanks, Travis. Okay, comments from the RDA Executive Director.
Thank you. I just might make a couple comments. One, Mayor Caldwell expresses his apologies tonight. He's with the site selector and many individuals from a country outside the United States who are looking at coming to Ogden. We felt it might be in the best interest of the city for him to be there with them tonight, so that's where he is. Just a comment from Travis's comments. We're well aware of the need for partnership, and we are learning to be partners with some of our new community partners, and it isn't something that just happens overnight. School district's the one who are coming up with the money for the land where the new school's going to go, and they are the ones who are coming up with the money to pay for the school. And there's a community outreach and a community partnership going into the community center. I do think the superintendent has a pretty good view and vision of what he wants that school to become. The city has been meeting, by city I mean administration has been meeting in several meetings lately to talk about planning and financing and all kinds of things. There has been that connection that Travis is referring to, and I think that that's starting to go well. It's the first few meetings that we're learning to dance, and it was like a junior high dance with everyone lined up against the wall, but it's getting better. And I think we have a pretty good partnership now that we're starting to work together to make a good plan. So I think some of those things that maybe aren't real public are really happening. And I just would say, you know, Travis, we agree with a lot of things you said, and we're working hard on that to make that happen. Last thing I'd like to do tonight is just to say thanks to Officer Beck. Officer Beck comes every week. He does a great job. He has a great attitude about being here. He listens intently to what he hears, and I think he could pass a test every night on what happens here. And I really appreciate his attitude and how he comes and does his job here, and I just want to say thanks, Officer.
Thank you. Any board member comments?
Just had one comment, but maybe Mr. Johnson could help me out on this. I know we just lost a longtime employee in the Public Service Division. I was wondering if you wanted to comment to that.
I think if that'd be right, I'd like Jay to come talk about that, if that'd be right.
Right.
Jay, would you come up here? That's a great, I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you. Kim Thompson is a longtime Parks employee with Public Ways and Parks. He developed a cancer of the brain, and we lost him this last week, and his services are tomorrow. He'll be buried in the Roy Cemetery. Kim was on our carpentry crew. He was what we called the Delta crew, Delta Force. He was our go-to crew, and he was a crew leader. And he did an exceptional job. He was one of the guys that was always there for us whenever we needed him. And he'd do just about anything we asked, and he'd do it faster than most person could ever think of doing it. So it was a great loss for us as a city, and our hearts and prayers are with him and his family as they go through this difficult time. But I do appreciate you bringing that up and recognizing we lost one of our own.
Okay. Any other board member comments?
I just want to echo what Mark said. I do appreciate also the officers who attend our council meetings, and it's nice to have them here, and I appreciate them.
Anyone else?
Still free week.
Yes.
You haven't heard that from?
One last plug for Idle Free Week. I know all council members are making extra efforts to make a difference with that.
That's true. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Vice Chair Gottner and second by Board Member Blair for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. A city council work session will be held immediately following the redevelopment agency meeting. The purpose of the work session is to receive information regarding the capital improvement plan, specific projects, the fiscal year 2013 annual grants report, a proposed fiscal year 2014 budget amendment, and miscellaneous grant funds and art grants recommendations and the council legislative projects, and to discuss council business.